Hey everyone. So real quick, here's our lecture for week 5. So this week we're going to cover the skeletal system and kind of everything involved with this. So we're just going to cover the vocab kind of associated with this and then the medical terminology as well. So some quick notes for this week. So in relation to late work, according as per the syllabus as it was established by the previous instructor, I do not accept late work if you have certain situations such as medical emergency, family emergency. You know, we do accept, if you let us know beforehand, but I've had a couple people try to turn in late work and tell me about it a couple days after the fact. If you have something coming up, try to do it beforehand. Try to reach out to me if you're having problems before the due date is done. And this is just because of the size of the class. I mean, there's 170 students, and I can't keep track of everyone if there's 20 students saying, hey, I missed the due date. And so it's just not feasible for me to do that. And so, kind of to add on to that, I've still gotten a couple emails about Moodle deleting discussion boards. As I mentioned in the previous lecture, what you should do to kind of help prevent this is you need to write out your discussion board in like a Word document and then copy and paste it into Moodle. If you have the Moodle window open for too long and try to submit something, it tends to want to reload and deletes everything in the process. So just play it safe, do that. This is the second week in a row that I've kind of told you guys about this. So like if it happens and you email me saying, "Oh, I'm not going to get in time because of this," like, I'm sorry, you're kind of out of luck just because, we've talked about this. Um, with that, there's some upcoming extra credit that I'm working on for you guys. So if you have missing assignments or if you didn't get full points on an assignment, there is some ways for you to get some points. Um, kind of talking about the announcement that I made earlier in the week. There's been some people who haven't done the full assignment instructions and gotten full credit just because they didn't do everything as was written out in the instructions. So make sure you guys are reading the instructions so you can get full credit. As long as you're following the directions and having different parts that I list out for the assignments, you will get full credit. So make sure you're doing that because yeah, I want you guys to do well in this class. So this week, looking at the skeletal system is broken down into two main parts. So you have the appendicular skeleton and the axial skeleton. So the axial skeleton is your skull, the spine, and then the rib cage, while the appendicular skeleton is all the bones connected to your appendages. So that's your legs and your arms. So any bone that's involved with the movement of those or part of the structure of those parts is part of the appendicular skeleton. So, like I said, axial skeleton, it just covers the skull, the rib cage, and the spine. So, with the spine, those of you that are going to medical fields, you're going to be required to learn about the spine and different parts. So, just a quick, easy mnemonic device to remember the parts of the spine. So, you have the cervical, the thoracic, and the lumbar region. And so, each section has a certain number of vertebrae. So you have uh, 7 in the cervical region, 12 in the thoracic region, and 5 in the lumbar region. And so a mnemonic device, or like a little thing that people will teach to help remember that, is breakfast at 7, lunch at noon, dinner at 5. And so that's just something to help you with future classes. This won't be covered in the quiz. So your appendicular skeleton is everything in your arms. So that starts at your clavicle and goes all the way to your fingertips. That includes your humerus, um, and just all the other bones, the ulnar radius, all the little fingers in your hands. The legs starts at your pelvis and the 3 bones associated with the pelvis and goes all the way down to your the tips of your toes. Um, Joints are also part of this section. So the joints are made up of a bunch of different parts. You have cartilage, which is kind of caps the end of the bones, kind of helps. It's something that can be worn down and replaced fairly easily. You have your synovial membranes with the synovial fluid inside, what those do is it kind of creates a pocket of fluid that reduces friction so that the joints move a lot easier. You have ligaments, which kind of connect the bones together. For those of you that decide to go into like exercise science or anything to do with biomechanics, ligaments also are used as kind of a sensory organ to kind of help your body know where everything is for stabilization. Tendons, those connect muscle to bone. You have your bursa, which are kind of little sacs of fluid around the joints that kind of help cushion. Your meniscus are also there for cushioning. And then with the joints, you have three main types. So you have a synarthrosis, epiarthrosis, and diarthrosis. And so what those three categories are is just saying, how mobile is this joint? How much is moving? Your synarthrosis are ones that don't move at all. That's the one in your skull. Um, and it just kind of progressively moves from there. For movements in the body, there's different types of motion which are covered in the text, and so I won't go over all of them. But the biggest thing is the type of motion is kind of based on the type of the joint. And so you have hinge joints, you have ball and socket joints, you have condyloid joints, you have other joints as well. And so these joints, they each move in a specific way. And so you'll see things like abduction, adduction, flexion and extension. You'll see pronation, supination. And so a lot of those different movements are specific to a certain joint type or to a specific region of the body. So kind of pay attention to those and take some notes on that, just because of how important that stuff is. Okay. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you need to ask questions about this assignments or about the material, my office hours are by appointments. You're more than welcome to set up a Zoom meeting with me. I hope you guys have a great week. Make sure you do your reading. Yeah. Last note, assignments for this week. You have the quiz, and then you also have the kind of that check-in assignment. So make sure you do those. If you have problems with them, let me know. Okay.